to Module 2. In this lesson, we'll be learning the first line of Amazing Grace. And the first chord that we will be playing is the C major chord. So when we say C major, then the lowest sounding note in this chord is going to be C. So I'm going to play it with my left hand. So the pinky is going to play the C. So we have, and I skip the D, play E, skip the F, play G. So for the first chord of Amazing Grace, we play Amazing Grace. And if you are having trouble being able to play all three notes at the same time, then what you can do is you can play only the pinky and the thumb. So then you skip the middle finger. So that would sound like Amazing Grace. Great, so let's play together. So as I have just done in the demonstration, you play the C major chord on a May, so the May of amazing and Amazing Grace. So on May and on Grace. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Amazing Grace. That's it. Alright, so I'll do it again, but only using my pinky and my thumb. Amazing Grace. Great. So you can actually play the same thing, exact same thing, using your right hand. So let's give it a shot. So first with three notes, C, E, and G. Amazing Grace. Great. So let's do the same thing again with only the thumb and the pinky. Amazing Grace. Great. So let's move on to the next part. So we've had Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. So on sweet, we are going to have the F major chord. So let's review. So we have C, D, E, F. So the lowest sounding note is going to be the F. The next one being A, and the top note is going to be C. So from the beginning, it's going to sound like Amazing Grace, how sweet. So on sweet, we are going to play the F major chord. So just like we did for the C major, instead of playing all three notes, it's also possible to play the pinky and the thumb, or the thumb and the pinky in the right hand, so to make things a little bit easier. So you can choose yourself which you feel comfortable with. So let's give it a shot from the beginning. Amazing Grace, how sweet. Great, so let's try it again with only two notes. Amazing Grace, how sweet. So as you can see, playing with two notes is a little bit easier than with three notes. So at this moment, I would like to do a little bit of an exercise to practice going from C major to F major, because it is a big jump going from C major to F major, so it can be a little tricky really landing in the correct place. So what I would recommend you to do is to pick a reference point on the keyboard. So for example, if we play the C major chord, we have C, E, G. And when we play the F major chord, we have F, A, C. this area, the chords kind of overlap. So the F and the G. So first we have G on the thumb, and then we have F on your pinky. So if we use the G from the C major chord, which is your thumb, as a reference point, so you keep looking at the G, and then you use that G to find where the pinky goes. So then you think, oh yes, the F is right next to the G, so it must be there. So we can practice the same technique only using 2 fingers as well. So the pinky and the thumb. And then we keep looking at the thumb, or we keep looking at the G note right there. And we use the G note as a reference point to see where the pinky goes in the next chord. So we can isolate this area and then practice just the movement of the thumb, which belongs to the C major chord, and switching to the pinky on the F, which belongs to the F major chord. So the action looks like this. So the thumb, pinky, thumb, which belongs to the C major, and the pinky, which belongs to the F major. And the same thing goes with the right hand as well. So this, we have the C chord, and then using this as a reference point, we play the thumb for the F, which belongs to the F major chord. So let's have you practice, and let's begin with the left hand. So we have thumb on the G, pinky on the F, thumb on the G, pinky on the F. So now let's play 2 notes. And keep looking at the reference point. And hopefully it's a bit easier. And so forth. So another reference point that you can use is the moving thumb. So instead of looking at the same note throughout the whole process, you can keep looking at the same finger. So for example, in this case, we look at the thumb, which is on the G, moving to the C. The thumb, which is on the G of the C major chord, moving to the C of the F major chord. So the movement is G, C, G, C. And feel free to stop the video to try this exercise from going from G to C and back and forth. And eventually, when you feel comfortable with it, then first play with 2 notes, and then eventually add all notes of the chord. And it's exactly the same thing with the right hand. First you do with the pinky, and then you move it to first at the G, going to the C, and then eventually adding all notes, and so forth. Great! So let's try to play along with the music. So we have Amazing Grace, how sweet. So hopefully after this exercise, the movement from C major to F major has gotten a little bit easier for you. So of course it takes a little bit of practice. So after this lesson, I would like you to practice these movements. And let's start from the beginning again to see how the first line ends. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. So on sound, we go back to the C major. So for the whole line, we have C, C major again, F major, then going back to C major. Alright, so let's try to play together. Amazing grace, great job! We've managed to play the first line of Amazing Grace. I'll see you in the next lesson.